months, a market downturn could affect you so dramatically. It's really important to consider safety when we're in financial times like we're in right now, which are really unpredictable. We like predictability, guarantees, sure thing, especially when you're hoping to retire, unless you love your job and you love your boss. Okay, so this can be particularly appealing if you are concerned about outliving their savings. So what is the number one concern other than, death of a spouse or health? Everybody wants to be healthy and wealthy. Well, outliving your money is a really big concern for people in retirement. People are living longer. If you don't believe me, go to any assisted living facility during lunch and play bingo or sing karaoke and have a good time with them, because they're actually having a lot of fun there. Go and see all the 99-year-olds. How many people are in their hundreds and still having a good time? And how many people have actually been living in these assisted living facilities for decades? It used to be like a 2 to 5 year plan. Like you think, oh, you're going to go there and live a couple years and then die? No. I think what happens is people are sad and lonely. They're at their house and then they make it to the assisted living thinking, well, this is where I phase out. And all of a sudden life comes back. They have a social calendar, they make friends, every meal they're eating with people, and there's just something about that energy with other people around that brings life back to you. It's good for your health, and it'll make you live longer. So guaranteed income, you don't want to outlive your money, and that is happening in a lot of the assisted living facilities, unfortunately. I have seen where, for example, this little lady, her children, her parents, her children were helping me. Oh, we got a caller? No. I was helping them transition mom because she had been there since she was 76 and now she was in her mid to late 90s. So basically 20 years she lived there and she was running out of money. And it's really sad because that all is because of poor planning. So now her independence and all of her friends, her lifestyle just changed. She had to go move in with one of the kids. Nobody wants to do that. And it was sad even for the children to know that this is what she was having to do. And they were trying to access some of their own retirement funds to help her, but you can only do what you can do. Number 5, another reason fixed annuities are really awesome in retirement planning, which it's a huge opportunity. Like I said, this wasn't happening last year. This wasn't really on the table. This wasn't part of my planning scenarios. This wasn't recommendations I was making for people, is that there's no management fees. Okay. So unlike mutual funds and other investment products, fixed annuities do not have management fees. So you can keep more of your money working. So think about this. No management fees, tax deferred. 2 more big wins of how this can grow. And then when at 5.5%. So I'm saying 5.5% because I know it's in that realm and it just sounds like a good number, 5.5. It's probably 5.4 to 6 in that range. Let's just say between 5 and 6, 5.5. We're going to go with that. And keep in mind, it's not it. Excuse me. I'm just using that as an example. However, the interest rates are based on how much money you invest, how old you are, and geographically, which most of our listeners are here in Florida, but still, it's giving you a really good idea. And as you know, what interest rates are doing. So it's just and it's also a good place to put money that, even if it's a 3-year plan. I have a lot of people that what we call laddering. We ladder them. We do 3 years here, and then when a CD comes due, you do another 3 years, and you just keep laddering them. And if interest rates are continuing to go up, or when they start to go down, your overall return is still a really good number. Again, it's a live show. If you have any questions about these fixed annuities and what my thoughts are maybe about your retirement strategy or suggestions, or if you just want to say hi, my number is 772-221-1100. I'm in the studio today all alone. I'd love to have a chat with any of you. Again, 772-221-1100, and call in and we'll talk. So some of the drawbacks, of course, there's always the drawback of investing in a fixed annuity is limited liquidity. So let's talk about liquidity. You have surrender charges. People say, oh, it'll be locked up. Well, that's where the term comes in, 3 years up to 10 years. But don't consider it locked up. The difference, like, let's say that interest rates run up to 9%. You could pay a penalty and the penalty goes down year after year. So let's say you do a 10-year strategy at 5.5%. 3 years from now, you can lock it in for 10 years at 9%. If the math, that's why I love math. We do the calculation and we say, by paying the fee to get out of this, you could earn this much more money. It's going to cost you this, but you're guaranteed to earn this. No brainer. We make the move. Don't be intimidated or have fear based on a surrender charge or a term or them telling you it's locked up. I see that a lot. And what we do is do the calculation and make sure that it makes sense for you. But a penny saved or a penny earned is a penny saved. A penny saved is a penny earned. That's a saying my grandmother used to say, and I'm pretty sure I just messed it all up. But you get my point. The point is, it's all about the money and the dollars. And if it makes more sense for you to make a change, plans are flexible. They're targets. We have to be flexible and we have to be willing to take action and do the things that we need to do to make the absolute best that we can out of our money. So surrender charges, the other potential is inflation risk, which is basically what I was talking about just now. Having that risk of, oh, well, Mindie, what if I lock it in and then rates go up again and they go up again and now I'm locked in at this? Hey, we'll have an exit strategy. I got your back. We'll figure that out. But what if they don't? And I'm going to get into that a little bit. Where does the tipping point happen? And going back to that same saying that it's insane to risk what you have for what you don't need. If we can lock you in for what you need, guaranteed, hey, listen, for the sure thing, the story goes like this. As of right now, I absolutely know that I have enough money to retire at this date. As of right now, I know that I'm going to earn 5.5% over the next 10 years and I'll be able to retire at 62. I know that. A lot of you could never make that statement. You couldn't fill in the blanks. And what I'm trying to say to you is, what if we could create that sure thing? All right. And now the next scenario is we do that. That's your story. And then the market shifts and things change. Now interest rates are paying 10% locked in. We're going to have an exit strategy and we're going to level up. And you're going to be able to say, well, now I can retire and go on a huge trip with my family and travel and go on cruises and escapades in Montana and the ranches and all the fantasy trips that we want to do. Or maybe I can pay for my kids to go to college with the extra earnings, or my grandkids. I can do things. So we're going to level up. But what if, here's the other scenario. What if you don't make any changes? What if you don't do anything? You don't take advantage of an opportunity to lock in a decent interest rate in return over 10 years. What if you don't do that? And then next year, it's not available to you. What if that happens? Then what? You're right back to not knowing what the future holds. I like at least locking in what I need and what I want. And if more comes my way, I welcome it. Fantastic. So one of the things that I'm going to get into, but before I do, this is the Mindie Molina Show. You can reach me at mindiemolina.com. You can call my office. You can schedule an appointment online. You can start a risk questionnaire and complete a questionnaire online that will just send your information directly to me. I do work out of state for those of you who are watching online. Also, thank you for listening, and it is a live show. You can call 772-221-1100. So now we're going to talk about this thing called sequence of returns. So sequence of returns is an interesting concept that a lot of people are completely unaware of how it works. Those who tried to retire in 2007 or did retire 2007, 2008, maybe even 2006, and then the market crashed, those are the people that understand sequence of returns. What it means is that, and this is why I was saying, if you are approaching retirement, if you're within 5 years of retiring, whew, you better tune in. And if you know someone or your friends at work, now's the time to start having these conversations, because if we have another financial crisis or we have a really big market drop, that can really affect you in retirement. See, if there's a huge market downturn, what sequence of return risk is it's the risk that you may experience negative returns early in retirement, which can have a significant impact, okay, on your retirement income over time. And that's how retirement plans blow up. So that's how people run out of money. It's one of the reasons people can run out of money, or they have to come out of retirement and go back to work. Because when you have an early negative decline in your returns, but you still are making distributions, you're still taking income because you have to have income to offset expenses. So you're taking income, you're selling off positions at a very low value, and many times you have to sell far more positions than you normally would in order to meet that income need. And when you start liquidating in a down market like that, when it comes back, you've eliminated a lot of positions. So it just can't come back because it's not there. And where, when you retire and the market's really good, you're taking distributions, and that you don't have to sell off positions. You're just taking usually interest to meet the needs. And if you do, you might have to sell off 1 or 2 positions rather than liquidating several in order to meet your income need. So when it comes back, it's able to come back to almost or what it was. So it's really important to understand how a negative market early in retirement can seriously affect you. 2 people that retire with the same amount of money at the exact same time, at the exact same age, and do everything the exact same, and one has a fixed investment plan and one is in the market, and that market starts off rough, one could have an enormous amount and be fine, and the other person just completely run out of money 10, 15, 20 years into retirement. You don't want to be that. And a fixed annuity can help protect you from the risk by providing a guaranteed rate of return. Because it doesn't, when you invest in a fixed annuity, you are guaranteed a fixed rate of return for, again, a specific time. Let's say it's 10 years. This means that even if the stock market experiences negative returns, your principal and your interest are completely protected. So, you will continue to receive your fixed income from the annuity regardless of what the stock market is doing. And that's what helps you maintain your retirement income even when we have market volatility, a financial crisis, and no matter what happens on the news, you no longer are attached to that. You are fully retired. That's what I think fully retired is when you're fully retired, you don't have to worry about who's the president, what's going on in the news anymore. You can relax when it comes to politics. You can relax when it comes to the news. You can enjoy your time in other ways, investing time in your family, investing time in your spouse, investing time in hobbies and things that you love, and having a little less stress. And that to me is fully retired, because I know how much the news this week alone will affect somebody out there with so much stress, and then it's going to affect their marriage, because now their spouse has to listen to how this is going to impact them and what's next. And it causes it takes away from the joys, I think, of retirement. So I like to see people have peace of mind and be able to emotionally and financially disconnect from the drama. There's always going to be news. You're talking about being retired for 30 years or more. There's going to be market upsets. There's going to be cycles. There's going to be story after story after story. And you either want to partake in all of that and be financially attached to it, or you don't. And the reason I'm having this special segment is simply because finally, since a long time, we have an opportunity to do a retirement plan without that financial attachment. And what better time to have that opportunity than what all is going on in our volatile market right now. So here's an example of sequence of returns. Let's say you invest $100,000 in a fixed annuity and it pays 5% annual return for 10 years. After 5 years, the stock market experiences a downturn and your other retirement investments, the other investments, lose value. Because your fixed annuity is not tied to the stock market, your principal and interest are protected, and you can continue to receive your fixed income from the annuity. Why this is important and going into that balance, right? So having safety and risk and having the mix of the two. When you have a guaranteed lifetime income and you don't have to rely on your market, your risky accounts to produce that income, then you're eliminating sequence of return risk altogether. And having a fixed annuity can help you do that. Why? Because you can take your income from there and let the market, when the market's down, that account that is attached to the market or invested in the market, you can just ignore that thing and leave it alone and let it come back when it comes back, because the market cycles. So if it takes 1 year, 6 months, 5 years, let's just don't touch it until it's to a state where you can take money from it. But when it's hurting, when it's down, you rely on your safe investments to provide that income, because taking income from that isn't affecting you through sequence of returns, like taking money from your stock market account. But if you don't have that fixed portion, if you don't have that safety side, then you have no choice but to rely on an investment account that's down and hurting, and you're still digging from it and taking distributions, and you're putting yourself in a really bad position for the future possibly. So in summary, 5.5%. Right now, I keep throwing that number out because I do want you to kind of remember what we're talking about. Fixed annuity can protect you from sequence of returns by providing a guaranteed rate of return that's not tied to the stock market. So that rate is locked in for whatever amount of time, amount of years that you choose, and it's not tied to the market. So it doesn't matter what happens. And that can help you maintain your retirement income even when you're experiencing, or we're experiencing, market volatility. So that is the big win with income and sequence of returns and the risk in that. Let's see, I think I'm going the wrong way. Hold on 1 second. So going back to my question that I had for you, which is how interest rates, or how much interest do you need to earn in order to retire, and how much interest do you need to earn in order to maintain your lifestyle in retirement? So I want to talk a little bit about how do we figure that out? How do we come up with those numbers? What's the process? So what happens is we gather information, much like, it's like creating a like being a diagnostic doctor, like figuring out not what's wrong with you, but what you need. And so we get all the information that we possibly can, because the last thing we want to do is prescribe something to you or recommend something to you that is going to put you in a bad position, which you could easily do that at the doctor. If you go in and you only give him half of your symptoms, or you only tell him half of the medications you're already taking, or you only disclose some of the surgeries that you've had or some of the illnesses you already have, and then he makes a recommendation for you, you're only hurting yourself. Now you just put yourself at risk of him prescribing something that's going to conflict with your other ailments, or maybe conflict with the other prescriptions that you're taking. It's really, really important that we get the entire financial picture from you. So that's number one. Number one is us doing the due diligence, finding out everything we need to know. How much income are you receiving? How much income will you receive in retirement from things like Social Security projections? And you can go on ssa.gov and get your statement to show how much Social Security you'll receive at 62, 65, 67, 70, so on. We can get that number.